All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking the absolute data-backed playbook for digital entrepreneurs who are ready to completely conquer the 2026 creator economy. Listen, if you're trying to figure out exactly how content is being monetized, scaled, and optimized right now, you are in the perfect place. We're going to strip away all the fluff, all the myths, and look directly at the hard numbers, the strategies, and the psychology that's driving the most successful channels today. Now, you might be thinking it takes some massive Hollywood budget or an over-the-top celebrity personality to hit the big leagues. But let me ask you a question. What actually separates a struggling channel making absolutely $0 from one raking in massive, life-changing wealth? Well, the answer really isn't what you might expect. And I can promise you it is not always about having the most expensive gear in the room. I mean, just look at this staggering figure. Over $1.5 million. And get this wasn't built up over decades. This was generated from just 334 million views in a highly specific, highly profitable niche. When you sit down and actually break down the math of the partner program using a super conservative $5 RPM, those earnings become astronomical, and they do it very quickly. And honestly, the wild reality of 2026 is perfectly captured by this. That massive fortune, it was made by an entirely faceless car restoration channel. They never showed their face, they literally didn't hold a camera, and they only uploaded 130 videos. It completely shatters that traditional YouTube mold we're all used to, proving for sure that there is no single right way to win anymore. It's entirely about leverage and building systems. So that brings us to Section 1, Gear, Grit, or AI, choosing your lane. Right now, we're seeing this massive juxtaposition between two completely viable but totally different paths. On one side, you've got the purist. You know, the creator investing in Lumix S1 cameras, shooting open gate at 60 frames per second, perfectly balancing DJI gimbals, and doing that classic ninja walk for cinematic B-roll. But then, on the flip side, you have the pragmatist. These guys are running multi-million view empires using an iPhone, free AI script generators, synthetic voices, and basic editing apps. Both sides are winning, but they are playing completely different games. For the pragmatists out there building these faceless channels, the workflow is just this incredibly simple, highly scalable pipeline. Actually, it's more like a digital factory assembly line. Step 1 is feeding your research into a language model to spit out a highly structured script. Step 2, you run that through tools like 11 Labs to generate a voiceover that sounds, honestly, identical to a human speaking. And step 3 is jumping into a template-based editor to slap together images, short fair use clips, and dynamic transitions. Boom, done. Let's shift gears a bit to Section 2, our 2026 automotive case study on capitalizing on car culture trends. Look, to really succeed, you absolutely must align your content with current macro trends. The data clearly shows audiences are completely moving away from those wild, oversized modifications. Now it's all about clean, minimalistic OEM plus builds. Plus, current economic realities are driving this massive trend in affordable domestic recession projects. People are buying older, cheaper cars instead of taking out huge loans. We are also seeing a huge comeback for early 2000s imported VIP sedans and those old-school custom trunk audio setups. If you are making content about these specific trends, you are basically riding a massive wave of organic search traffic. Moving right along to Section 3, designing the viral click and the psychology behind thumbnails. Because we really have to ask ourselves, in a sea of literally millions of videos uploaded every single hour, what exact psychological triggers guarantee a 10% or higher click-through rate? How do the top 1% of creators consistently grab our attention in such a crowded feed? Mastering the click almost entirely boils down to one thing: cognitive load. You've got to keep your thumbnail text to an absolute maximum of 3 words. Any more than that, and a viewer mindlessly scrolling on their phone just won't read it. You need high contrast colors too. Yellow and black combos are statistically proven to stop the scroll. Throw in the rule of thirds for your layout, and above all else, keep your branding consistent so returning viewers recognize you in a split second. We actually found some direct feedback from a creator in the Middle Eastern market that hits the nail right on the head. They basically said, "I want my personal picture as the background." And you know, that reinforces a really powerful cross-cultural rule of digital media. Creators all over the world instinctively know that the human face, specifically one showing exaggerated emotion, is the ultimate algorithmic trigger. We are quite literally biologically wired to look at faces. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, translating for global dominance, going way beyond the English market. The real heavy hitters out there aren't just doing lazy word-for-word translations. They are building deep localization pipelines. So this means adapting not just the language with multi-track audio, but actually tweaking the cultural context, the local humor, and even regional search engine behaviors. When you do this right, you can literally double or triple your organic search traffic worldwide overnight. Relying solely on the English-speaking market is just leaving massive amounts of international ad money sitting completely untouched on the table. Okay, on to Section 5, the CPM monetization matrix. Let's follow the ad money. So here is the brutal reality of the platform today. Short-form, vertical content, it's fantastic for rapid subscriber growth and algorithmic reach, sure. But there is a staggering 95% revenue gap. Long-form video drastically, and I mean overwhelmingly, outperforms short-form when it comes to actual AdSense cash. If your primary goal is cash flow, long-form is absolutely non-negotiable. Because, not every view is created equal. There's a very clear hierarchy of advertiser tiers. A gaming or travel channel might fight tooth and nail for a $4 to $15 CPM, while automotive and software comfortably pull in $10 to $25. But then look at Tier 1, finance and insurance. These advertisers know their customers have massive lifetime value, so they will happily fork over up to a $50 CPM. Your niche literally sets the ceiling on your potential earnings. But hey, don't forget that geography is just as critical as your niche. Advertisers pay based on the purchasing power of the viewer. A single viewer sitting in the US, the UK, or Canada generates 3 to 5 times more ad revenue than someone watching that exact same video in the Tier 3 market like Brazil or India. This is exactly why targeting and localization strategies are so vital to bumping up your RPM. Let's move into our final piece. Section 6, stacking your revenue streams and moving well beyond AdSense. To build a real, sustainable empire, smart creators stack their income. They don't just rely on ads. They take that baseline ad revenue and they multiply it by weaving in lucrative software or product affiliate links. They hustle for direct brand sponsorships. They launch paid communities and their own digital products. And crucially, they strategically time their absolute best heavy-hitting content drops for Q4, October through December, which is when advertiser spending just goes through the roof. So, we've unpacked the raw data on both the high-end cinematic lane and the systems-driven AI faceless lane. You know the macro trends, you understand the psychology of the click, and you know exactly where the real money flows. Like we said, your niche sets your earning ceiling, but your strategy, that sets your floor. So the only question left to ask yourself is, which lane are you going to choose to start building your empire today?